Hey everybody, real quick before we dive into today's episode, I want to let you know that I'm doing a giveaway here on this podcast. So one of you can win a $50 Amazon gift card. What do you have to do to enter this giveaway? All you have to do is to leave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. And here's how you can do it. So open your phone, open the podcast app, go to my show, and there is a purple clickable link. You click on that, then scroll all the way down until you see ratings and reviews. And leave me a 5-star rating, leave me a review, and one of you will win that $50 Amazon gift card. I will announce the winner on the last episode in October. So good luck, and here is the show. Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Balanced Vibes podcast. And honestly, really, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And just today, somebody told me something really beautiful, really touched my heart. And she said that, hey, I've been listening to almost every single one of your podcast episodes, and thank you so much for putting them out there. And this is great. I really appreciate you listening or watching on YouTube, and also telling me that you find this podcast useful, because honestly, a lot of times there's very little feedback, and I don't know exactly if what I'm telling you, the topics that I'm covering, if they even land. Are you even interested in them? Do they even help you? So hearing that they do help some people is really helpful for me. And as I have often mentioned, the topics are usually coming from the conversations that I'm having with my clients, or sometimes friends, or whoever I happen to be talking to. But that doesn't mean that I don't take requests. So if you have any ideas, I absolutely am very open to listening to them. So tell me, what do you want to learn more about? Because I can think and I can guess what might work for you, but I don't always know. So the best way to make sure that you get from this podcast what you want to get out of it is to tell me. Just to literally tell me, hey, let's talk about this. Can I do an episode on that? And then if I think that I know enough about this topic, then I will definitely do the episode. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to talk about what would I do? What would I personally do if I wanted to lose 10 pounds of body fat? And that would be kind of in the beginning of this health journey, right? So I'm not necessarily talking about a person who is already tracking all the macros and everything is dialed in and the workouts are really perfect and they are very consistent with them. So if this is you, awesome, really, really great. I'm happy for you. But if you're not that person and you are just in the very beginning, you want to get better, you notice that, hey, my clothes are not fitting the way they used to. My energy is not the way I want it to be. I'm more tired. I don't like the body shape. Maybe some health markers have gotten worse. So sounds like I could use losing a little bit of body fat. And because you are a smart person, you know that body weight and body fat are not the same thing always. Then you are understanding that I want to lose some body fat. So if I want to lose 10 pounds of body fat, then I'm in this quite beginning of this journey. What are the things that I'm going to do? So this is what I'm going to tell you today. And these are exactly the things that I would do if I were in this situation and wanted to lose 10 pounds of body fat. So the first thing is going to be more like a mindset thing. I just want to get this out of the way, and then we can jump into all the practical things, but it is important to mention this. And the first thing would be to stop looking for a fast solution, right? So you probably know this already, and this really shouldn't be a surprise. But usually when we think it's the fast fix or the fast solution, ends up taking a lot more time and ends up being unhealthier, versus committing to something that's going to take you more time, because this longer process actually ends up being the shortcut, right? Of course, the true shortcut to 10-pound fat loss, it doesn't even exist. There's no such thing. But if you commit already in your mind, you understand it's going to take me more, let me give it at least 6 months, right? Then you can get results that last. And the reason is something that I've talked about on this podcast so many times. The reason why this quick fix doesn't actually last is that if you want a quick fix, you choose a really crazy method, right? So it comes down to this method. If you choose something that, again, I just heard today, somebody ate 800 calories for 5 months, right, without knowing what it actually does to her body. This was the quick solution. And unfortunately, now there's a lot of things we have to improve and heal about her body, because obviously the body just cannot function well. It's going to become really depleted and undernourished, and hormones are starting to talk to you, and you're going to run into a lot of problems. So if we are looking for this fast solution, and this is absolutely not to blame anybody, this is just to highlight the fact that fast quick fixes are never sustainable. So if you choose this quick solution, actually it's going to take you longer to get to your end result, because by choosing the quick fix, you're going to have to do several of them, right? You're going to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and eventually you're going to dive yourself into the corner, and then you still have to do it the sustainable way, which then comes down to learning more sustainable, healthier lifestyle habits. And all this period of quick fixes that now took like 3 years out of your life, or 5 years, we could have we could have not done this at all and done it the sustainable way immediately if you had the patience, right? So that's why I'm saying that the longer process, that seeming longer process, this is actually the shortcut. And this is the mindset that I want you to have if you have this goal of losing 10 pounds of body fat. Okay, I'm going to calm down. I'm not going to bring any intensity and panic into this process. And I'm going to give myself, let's say, 6 months or so, right? Sometimes it's going to be faster, right? But I'm going to give myself this really nice slow pace, because during the 6 months, I'm learning also so many things, and I'm doing things in a sustainable way. So I'm not going to rush. There's no rush, right? It doesn't matter that it's your, I don't know, brother's wedding or your sister's birthday in 2 weeks. It's okay. You got to let that go and focus on more like a long-term results, and understand it's going to take time. Okay. So now this is out of the way now. Let's next talk about what are some of the things that I would stop doing that most people who are just getting started on this health journey that they are doing oftentimes, and what I would then do instead. And some of the things that I'm going to mention here, they're going to be like pretty strict. I'm with certain things, I'm like, no, you got to stop this. And with others, I personally, I'm a little bit more flexible. I might say things like, yeah, have it once in a while, but most of the time don't have it. And there's things where I'm like, you got to stop this because it's not healthy. Okay. So what are the things that I would say, stop, just stop it. And the first thing would be going to these fast food places, right? There's absolutely nothing beneficial about them. And it's just, I'm saying this because I see how many people go to these places, and how there's like always like tons of people in them. And just recently we had a new Chick-fil-A open close to our home, and it's so brand new, and there's already like tons of people and tons of cars in the drive-through. And I see, in our building, food's being dropped off, and it's the same place. I'm like, we got to stop that. I really think that this is one of the things you kind of have to stop. So if you have this thought, oh, I'm so hungry, and I really don't have anything at home, still don't go to these fast food restaurants. It's just crap what they serve you there. You can always find something better. So what else could you find? I mean, almost anything is better, to be honest. You could go to a grocery store, and yeah, let's say you're really hungry. What can you get? What's healthier? Well, you could go and get yourself already baked or grilled chicken breast. Why couldn't you do that? Go get that. Have a little salad on the side. Perfect. You can get it at a grocery store. You don't have to go to McDonald's. You don't have to go to Chick-fil-A. You don't have to go to any of these places. So in my mind, that's one of the things where I'm drawing like a hard line. Just don't go there. Don't ever make it a habit. If it is a habit, you have to start letting go of it and find alternatives. Okay. What I'm going to do instead? Well, first of all, you're going to, cook more at home. And this is actually the point that I would make here. Instead of going to these fast food restaurants, cook home. most of the time. I would say 90-95% of the time, cook at home, and you gotta do some meal preparation. That's just how it works. So every week you're gonna have some proteins and some vegetables, and maybe some rice or some potatoes for your carbs. And it's not gonna take you a ton of time. I have done an episode, Meal Prep 101. I can link to it. Super simple. It doesn't even take you all that much time. It just wants you to get away from this habit of going to these fast food restaurants where they serve you crap. And it's not only nutritional, like, macro wise crap stuff. It's also what's in this food. What's actually in this food? I mean, the food is filled with so many bad items or bad even chemicals, and you just don't want them in your system. So stop going to these places. That's my first advice. If you can drop that habit, you already are doing a lot better. Okay, then the next thing that I would stop doing would be to have drinks that have sugars and calories in them. So this is definitely something a lot of people do. They have the soda habit, right? They have it all the time, sometimes even a couple of times a day. And just if you switch that to water, non-caloric drink, then you're gonna already save a lot of calories. You're not gonna drink so many calories. And again, these calories have nothing valuable in them if you get them from like sugary drinks. Absolutely nothing. So I'm not saying I'm talking more about like sodas and things like that. I'm not saying that whole fruit juice, for example, if you drink like 100% orange juice, which is something that I have too as a part of my adrenal cocktail, I think that's perfectly fine. But if we're talking about it's like high sugar drinks, and it's not only sodas actually, you can also look at what's inside of this. You may think, oh, I'm gonna have like iced tea. Well, look at the label, see how much sugar is in it. You're gonna be surprised. So if you can drop these drinks too and just drink water, or maybe something that is actually beneficial, like I said, 100% orange juice sometimes. Yeah, I think that's fine. Or coconut water, which is also part of the adrenal cocktail that I like to use. These things actually come with nutrients. But if you just get like these sodas that are filled with sugars, there's absolutely nothing good about them. And so if you can stop consuming them, you're going to take in a lot less calories. Okay. The next thing that I would say, quit drinking most alcohol. Yeah, I really drink. No, I don't really drink almost at all anymore, but I also think that this stuff is not helpful. Honestly, I find in alcohol, one thing that can be beneficial, and that is if you enjoy it in a social situation. It's like, let's say it's part of a really nice date night, or it's part of like a fun birthday celebration, like socially. I think it's fine like this. But this like random drinking on a random weekday also has to go. It just has to. It's not serving you in any way. And again, if you are getting closer to those years, or like mid-40s and beyond, it's going to get harder and harder for your body to handle it. It's going to mess with your sleep a lot, even though you might feel like, oh, it puts me to sleep. No, it actually doesn't. I mean, it may put you to sleep, but also going to wake you up, and your sleep is not going to be as restful. And when you are approaching, those mid-40s and beyond, then you really have to think, can I afford this? Like, can I afford the shitty next day? Because I just felt like I need, 2 glasses of wine on a random Wednesday. So in my opinion, it's not worth it. Also, it comes with lots of calories in addition to having this hormone disrupting effect. So like I said, save it for like really special occasions, and then also be mindful, be moderate. If you go out to that date night, just tell yourself, I'm gonna have one glass of wine. That's all. Yeah, one glass of wine. And then stick with it. This is really something that saves you, again, a lot of calories, because a lot of people have this habit. And I had this in the past. Let's say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It was all the time, like 3 times a week, I would have a glass of wine, sometimes 2. And there was wondering, like, why am I not losing body fat? Well, this was definitely one of the contributors. I was also wondering why my period is so weird. Well, absolutely, it impacted those as well. So this is my recommendation, that you, for the most part, stop drinking alcohol, or if you really want it, save it for some really special occasions where you truly enjoy it, and limit the amount that you're having. All right, so the next thing that I would change is I would stop sitting all day long. So the sitting habit is a pretty big habit. And honestly, even those people who think that they're physically super active because they work out 4 or 5 days a week, they may not be as active because they're sitting the rest of the time. So get up, get off your chair, get off your desk, get off your couch, and go and move a little bit. So I recommend that you take even just small walks throughout the day. It doesn't have to be too many, but let's say start with 2, right? After your lunch and after your dinner, walk a little bit. Or if you don't go outside, just get up, walk a few steps, do a couple of squats, do something. Just get up and move a little bit more, because all this sitting is absolutely not good for you. And also, when you move yourself, even if you stand up, let's say like 1/4 of your day, you stand up and work on a standing desk, then you're increasing your energy burn. You are putting your body in a different position for a little bit, and you're gonna definitely burn some extra, and you're gonna feel better. But I definitely recommend that you also go outside, get some fresh air, even if it's cold outside. You got clothes, I'm pretty sure. So go outside, get some fresh air. Believe me, it's not always easy in Phoenix too, and it's like the sun is still pretty strong. And as I'm recording, this is October 4th, so it's still strong. But I'm still going out, and I did this, entire July when it was even warmer. The walks may have been shorter, but still they did happen. So if you're somewhere where it's super cold, just put some clothes on. The other option would be to, if you can have the standing desk, then get the walking pad that you can put under your desk and just do some of the work on this walking pad. Also really helpful. So find ways to move. Now, talking about movement, giving you a little bit more specific advice, what I would do is I would give myself or tell myself to walk at least 7 hours a week. So what's that? Easy, right? 1 hour a day. So walk 7 hours a week, lift weights 3 hours a week. That's what I would do. So instead of it letting it be super or overwhelming. So I've noticed that those people who are like newer to health and fitness and on this journey, just getting started, they tend to have either this mindset of like, I'm not going to do anything because I'm not going to get better anyway. Or they may have this mindset where they're like, I'm just going to sign up for like 17 million things and do all of them in 1 week, like 7 workouts a week, and they all have to be hardcore. And then I'm also not going to eat anything. So this is like a super extreme approach, and don't do that. So do something that is more doable for you. That's why I say 7 hours of walking, 3 hours of lifting. Okay, if you're absolutely not walking at all, just like 30 minutes of walking then in a day, but you have to get started with it, because sitting on the couch is not helpful. It's not going to do anything. So don't have these 0 days. 0 days are days when you don't move at all. Don't do that. So like I said, 7 hours walking, 3 hours of lifting. Okay, so come back to foods for a little bit. So stop doing any diet plans, please. Just stop doing all the diet plans, whatever they are, whatever they promise. Stop this bullshit. It's not going to work. I hear these things all the time. There are 2 diets that I hear most often in my practice that people have tried. And I'm not going to mention them, but one of them is extremely low calorie. The other one is not as low calorie, but the problem with the other one is long periods of not eating, so fasting, and then low carbs, which are 2 of the things that really wreck the metabolism. So these are just 2 examples, but there are so many more out there. I don't care what they're called. If they're not reasonable, if they make you do extreme stuff, please don't sign up for this. Just don't. What is extreme stuff? Very low calories. That's extreme stuff. If you're forced to buy quote unquote nutrient packed bars and shakes, bullshit, don't. If you have been told to like fast 16 plus hours, I wouldn't do it. Now, fasting for some people works for different purposes, but I would not use it for weight loss, fat loss. If you've been told to cut your carbs under 50, I would not do that. So in my world, these are, or if you're like, don't eat any fiber because now we're all carnivore, or don't eat any meat because now we're vegan. Like that stuff, you get the idea, right? Like it's just so extreme. Don't do it. So instead, what you want to do, if you want to lose 10 pounds of body fat, the number one thing, sorry, I don't have new things. Protein. It's protein, right? So either you're going to track the protein so that you're going to get in grams the amount of protein that you want to weigh. So if you want to weigh 160 pounds, you're going to get 160 pounds of protein. Sorry, not pounds, that would be too much. 160 grams of protein per day, if 160 pounds is your goal weight. So get that down first. It's so much easier, you guys. It's so much easier than having to figure out like all the variables of all the diets, all the intricate details. It's unnecessary, right? So have your protein goal. If you've never tracked it before, then like I said, your goal weight, right? You're going to aim for that. 160 is your goal, 160 grams of protein per day. If it's 140, then it's 140 grams of protein per day, and eat that. So the key is like, if you do that, then the other foods and macronutrients, like carbs and fats, that will fall into place quite naturally, especially if this protein is coming from real whole foods, which will be my next point, right? Then you're just gonna feel full, right? If you eat a big chicken breast or chicken thigh or a good chunk of steak, you're gonna feel pretty full. Yeah, you're gonna want to eat some vegetables. You're gonna want to eat some rice or potatoes, something like that. Cool, totally do that. But you are not gonna eat like a pile of, I don't know, rice or something like that first, and then realize that you didn't have any protein at all. Now, if you don't want to eat protein, or sorry, if you don't want to track your protein, then you can just use the hand measurements, which might be easier for those who are new. So for women, I would say 1 to 1.5 palm sizes of protein, right? So literally you can picture a piece of chicken thigh. Is it my palm size? Yeah, it's my palm size. So I'm going to eat that. If I want a little more, then I have a little more, right? And then I'm going to eat the other things that I like. If you're a man, then 1.5 to 2 palm sizes, and it will do the same thing for you. It's going to make you feel full, satiated, and you're going to feel like you're less snacky. You don't need to eat a lot of sweets. Your cravings go down, and your health is going to get better. I hear it all the time, how people's health get better. Just recently, somebody told me that she started sleeping through the night as soon as we increase her protein to the right place where it needs to be. So you're going to feel a lot better when you eat protein. And my next point is real food. So mostly real food, right? So this is where I'm a little bit like, okay, yeah, you can have definitely a little bit of flexibility here. I don't expect anybody to eat like 100% whole food diet, but I think it is very beneficial. I know it is very beneficial. But where I would leave like a little bit of this room would be just like what I would call like nutritional relief, right? So if you want to have a little bit of chocolate, cool, it's okay if you have like a few hundred calories worth of that a day. Fine. You don't have to do this like, oh, I'm never gonna have anything processed ever again. I don't think that this is sustainable. But most of the foods should come from real food sources. So if you have that 10-pound fat loss goal, do that. Eat foods that came from earth or had a mother, and eat your protein first, and you're going to see it's so much easier. You don't have to starve yourself eating 800 calories and some questionable bars. No, don't do that, right? It's not what you need to do at all. And you also don't need to have this I'm going to cut out all the sugar completely mindset, especially if you do like sweet things once in a while. Because I think if you say to yourself that you cannot have that at all, we're only talking a couple hundred calories maybe, you tell yourself, I cannot have that at all. It's bad for me. It's going to wreck me. I'm off the plan if I do that. So what it does for most people, it just triggers more cravings for that food. And the likelihood of you overeating is going to be higher because you restrict it so hard. So leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room. It's fine. But mostly eat foods that came from nature, right? So super, super important. Probably the most important thing when it comes to losing that body fat that you want to lose is to eat whole real foods and get your protein down. It really is that simple. Okay, and then one more thing where I'm flexible, where I'm not saying like, oh, this is absolutely no, is eating out. So let's talk about eating out. If you want to lose that 10 pounds of body fat, I don't expect you to say that I'm never going to eat out again. Like, you don't have to be so hardcore about it. Where I said, yes, do it, is that cutting out those fast food chains and restaurants that are just really terrible. Don't go to those places. There's a million other places you can go. But if you want to eat out, I would say, yeah, like go, let's say once or twice a week if you like to, but I would limit it there, right? Of course, there's like occasions and things, and you're traveling and things might be different. But as a general rule, once or twice a week, eat out and go to a place that you enjoy. What are your favorite places? What do you like? I personally have either a burger once a week or Thai food, because these are two things I absolutely love. Thai curry is so good, right? Or a really nice juicy burger after a hike. Nothing better than that. So do that, let's say once a week, max twice a week, and then rest of the time just eat home. But you don't have to cut out completely, or like, oh, I can't go there, I can't meet up people because there's food. You can just make reasonable choices. Like I said, 95% of the time you want to eat home, and then the rest of the time, go out, have fun. Okay, so we talked about the movement part, we talked about the food part, and what else are we going to talk about? So I want to talk about also sleep. So stop staying up so late. A lot of people have this, like, they stay up till like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, watching things, or like even playing video games. Like, what's up with that? We're adults here. Why are we playing video games and spending so much time on that? And we can never take this time back. We got nothing valuable out of it, did we? So let's stop that. Let's stop like watching shows that we could also watch some other time. Is it really so important to watch it like 1 a.m. and then the next day we'll be like groggy and tired and mad and it's like, right? So let's just go to bed earlier. Let's get some, 7 hours of sleep at least. If you're able to sleep longer, do it. Please do it. I'm saying is because I'm not very good at like getting 9 hours. I just don't sleep that long. But if you naturally do, please go sleep then. Go to sleep. It's gonna help you with your fat loss goal. It has tremendous effect, positive effect on your fat loss and your muscle building ability too. So go to sleep, right? And then one more thing is watching what you are putting into your brain. And what I mean by that is like, who are the people you're hanging out with? What's the stuff you consume via social media, via TV? Why are you still watching news? If you're watching news, why are you doing this? Because it literally keeps you in this state of like high alertness, hypervigilance. I even heard recently Jordan Saya talking about how he tested his blood pressure, so that 1 week he watched the TV news and then the next week he didn't. The week that he watched those news, his blood pressure was constantly elevated. So it's pretty obvious the health connection here. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this to ourselves? We don't, we can opt out, right? Just because they're on TV, somebody puts them in there and wants you to watch it, does it mean that you have to watch it? No, go do something better. So what can you do then? Well, you could go to sleep, or you could listen to something useful, like an audiobook, or you could learn a language, or you could talk to your friend. If your friend is positive, happy, supportive person, not a complainer that tells you that you cannot do it, don't talk to those people either. So get picky about what you let into your brain. Get like super selective about it, because your brain it's your life, right? And see this way, is this helpful, is this beneficial, does it help me to get towards my goals, or is it just making everything worse? Also really recommend like dropping the mindset of like, I can't, or I'm a victim of the situation, my body's not responding for me. Also not helpful. Listen to something empowering that gets you going, right? Get this better energy going. Tell yourself you can, because you can. So this is my mindset tip. A lot of it comes down to mindset as well, right? So you have to have this self-trust and belief in yourself, and not taking on this victim mindset of, oh, I can't, or people like me don't go to the gym. This is also another one that could be difficult to overcome, and I understand that, but you just gotta take the step. You gotta literally walk into the gym and get started. So this is how you do it. Maybe just go, once a week at first, get used to it, ease into it, but eventually you have to face this and you have to go. Okay, so when you do these things consistently, let's go over the most important things again. Eat your protein, eat real whole foods, stop going to fast food restaurants, please. Allow yourself a little bit of flexibility, like a little piece of chocolate or something a day, a few hundred calories. You can go out and eat once a week if you want to. Perfectly fine. You don't have to be super perfect with it. And when it comes to movement, 7 hours of walking a week, 3 hours of lifting a week, and then getting up frequently from a desk, right? If you're sitting a lot. So when you do all these things, and I should have also said, actually, listen to your fullness signals. Like, am I full already? Is it time to put the plate down and fork down? So let me add that too. If you do these things and if you continue this like calm mindset and understand this process, and don't freak out if you didn't lose a ton of weight in the first 3 weeks, then you're going to get there. You're going to get there. You just have to trust it, keep going, and be very consistent. Like the most consistent you've ever been in your life, maybe. You gotta do it. Okay. So this is all. That's all. I hope it helped you today. Let me know if you did. Leave a comment below, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Take care.